The Galactic Council chamber was silent. Hundreds of alien species watched the giant hologram floating in the center of the room. On the screen was a small blue planet, marked with a red symbol. Earth. The High Council speaker stepped forward. His voice was calm, cold, and confident. After careful observation, he said, we declare Earth a failed experiment. A low sound of agreement spread through the chamber. Many species had waited centuries to hear those words. Humans were strange creatures. Emotional, divided, and violent. They fought among themselves again and again. To the Council, this meant only one thing: weakness. They fear war, the speaker continued. They destroy themselves with it. They will never be a threat to the galaxy. Laughter echoed across the chamber. Some species mocked the idea that humans could ever stand beside them. Only one being did not laugh. At the edge of the hall sat an ancient observer. His species was older than most stars. He had seen empires rise and fall. His eyes stayed fixed on the hologram of Earth. Not with amusement, but with concern. He had read human history. Not the summaries. Not the filtered reports. The real records. Humans did not just fight wars. They studied them. They learned from every loss, every mistake. But the Council did not want to hear that. The speaker raised a hand. Silence returned. Earth will be isolated, he declared. No alliances, no protection. If they fall alone. The decision was final. Far away, on Earth, humans did not react with anger. There were no threats sent to the Council. No protests. No demands. Instead, something else happened. In deep space, human fleets began to move. Quietly. Without announcement. No weapons were powered. No shields raised. To outside observers, they looked harmless. Peaceful. The Council noticed the movement and laughed again. They are afraid, one delegate said. They run before conflict. The ancient observer remained silent. His hands clenched slowly. He remembered a line from an old human record. A sentence written after a terrible war. The most dangerous enemy is the one who prepares in silence. As the human fleets entered neutral space, they stopped. Waiting. The Council sent a message. A warning. A reminder of human inferiority. There was no reply. Minutes passed. Then hours. The silence began to feel heavy. Uncomfortable. Some Council members shifted in their seats. Humans were not acting as expected. They were not begging. They were not attacking. They were watching. The ancient observer finally spoke. His voice was low, but it carried across the chamber. You mistake restraint for fear, he said. And patience for weakness. The speaker turned sharply. Are you suggesting humans are dangerous? The ancient being looked at the hologram once more. At a species that survived endless wars, he replied. And learned when not to fight. Before the Council could respond, an alert flashed across the chamber. Human ships had changed formation. Not aggressive. Not defensive. Strategic. The observer closed his eyes slowly. They were never a failed experiment, he said. They were the final test. And the galaxy was about to fail it. The Galactic Council believed the matter was finished. Earth was isolated. Humanity was ignored. To them, humans were a problem that would solve itself. Across the galaxy, records were updated. Earth was listed as a failed experiment. A warning note was added. Emotionally unstable species. High internal conflict. Low long-term survival probability. The Council felt proud of its judgment. They had seen thousands of young species before. Most destroyed themselves long before reaching the stars. Humans were no different. Or so they believed. What the Council never understood was this. Humans did not fear war. They feared unnecessary war. On Earth, there were no celebrations and no panic. Human leaders gathered in quiet rooms. Screens showed star maps and moving fleets. A human commander spoke calmly. "They have made their choice," he said. "So we will make ours." No speeches about revenge followed. No anger filled the room. Only focus. Human history was full of war, but also full of lessons. Every war had taught them something. How to adapt. How to survive. How to win without destroying everything. The galaxy only saw human wars as chaos. They never studied what came after. Rebuilding. Innovation. Unity. In deep space, human fleets remained silent. Their ships were not the largest. Not the most beautiful. But they were efficient. Every system had a purpose. Every design was tested through centuries of conflict. Meanwhile, some alien species began to grow uneasy. They watched human ships hold their positions. Not advancing. Not retreating. This behavior was strange. One aggressive empire, known for crushing weaker worlds, saw an opportunity. If humans were truly weak, then taking Earth would be easy. They approached the council with confidence. "We will handle the human problem," their leader said. "Their fear will make them surrender." The council did not object. Why would they? A failed experiment was not worth protecting. The ancient observer listened in silence. His expression darkened. He had seen this pattern before. A young species labeled harmless. Ignored until it was too late. As the aggressive fleet moved toward human space, humans noticed immediately. There was still no announcement. No warning sent. Instead, human fleets adjusted quietly. Supply lines shifted. Communication networks locked into place. On Earth, civilians continued their lives. Children went to school. Cities stayed calm. This confused alien observers the most. A species facing invasion should panic. Humans did not. The ancient observer requested access to restricted human archives. What he found made him uneasy. Humans had prepared for this moment for centuries. Not with hate, but with acceptance. War, to humans, was not glory. It was a tool of last survival. As the alien fleet crossed the boundary of human space, a simple human message was sent. Turn back. Nothing more. No threats. No demands. The alien commander laughed. "This is fear," he said. The ancient observer closed the archive slowly. His voice shook as he whispered, "No. This is restraint." And restraint, he knew, was far more dangerous than fear. The alien invasion fleet moved deeper into human space. Their ships were massive, covered in heavy weapons and glowing shields. To them, this was already victory. They expected resistance. Fearful messages. Last attempts at peace. They received none. Human space was quiet. Too quiet. Inside the human command center, officers stood calmly. No shouting. No panic. A senior commander watched the screens. Each alien ship tracked. Each movement predicted. "Human doctrine is active," he said softly. This doctrine was not written in one book. It was written in blood. In loss. In survival. Humans had learned long ago that war was not chaos. It was control. They did not rush. They did not strike in anger. They waited. The Galactic Council observed the situation from afar. Many members were confused. "Why do the humans do nothing?" one delegate asked. "They have no chance," another replied. "They are frozen by fear." The ancient observer listened. His eyes never leaving the tactical display. He had seen fear before. This was not fear. In human space, small defense platforms powered on. Not to attack, but to watch. Human ships remained hidden. Their signals masked. Their weapons cold. The invading fleet crossed another boundary. Closer to Earth now. That was the moment humans had been waiting for. A human officer spoke. "They are fully committed." The commander nodded. "Begin Phase 1. Across space, Invisible systems activated. Alien sensors started to fail. Communications filled with noise. The invaders slowed. Confused. Their formation breaking apart. "This is impossible," the alien commander growled. "Our systems were perfect." But they were not perfect. They were predictable. Humans had studied alien warfare for decades. Every pattern. Every weakness. Not to destroy, but to disable. On the Council world, alarms sounded. Data streamed in faster than expected. "They are not attacking," a Council analyst said. "They are controlling the battlefield." The ancient observer finally stood. "This is how humans fight," he said. "They remove your options." Back in human space, the alien fleet tried to retreat. But paths were blocked. Energy fields closed silently. Human ships appeared at last. Not in a charge, but in perfect positions. Surrounding. Waiting. The alien commander sent a furious message. "Fight us." The human reply was calm. "This is the fight." On Earth, civilians still felt nothing. No explosions. No sky filled with fire. The war was happening far away. Exactly as planned. The Galactic Council watched in growing fear. Their reports were wrong. Their judgment flawed. Humans were not weak. They were disciplined. The ancient observer spoke again. Almost to himself. "They do not fear war. They mastered it." As the alien fleet lost power system by system, one final alert appeared on human screens. "Phase 2 ready." The commander looked at the display. His voice steady. "Now," he said. "They learn why we waited." And across the galaxy, the real fear began. Phase 2 began without sound. There was no sudden explosion. No bright flash across space. That was the first thing that terrified the alien fleet. Human ships did not rush forward. They stayed exactly where they were. Calm. Unmoving. Then systems began to fail. One by one, alien ships lost power to their weapons. Shields flickered and went dark. Navigation systems showed false stars. The alien commander shouted orders. But his voice echoed back to him. Communication was gone. "This is not possible," he said. "They should be fighting like animals." But humans did not fight like animals. They fought like engineers. Human weapons activated only when needed. Precise energy pulses disabled engines. Not ships. Life support remained untouched. Escape pods stayed active. This was not destruction. This was control. On the Galactic Council world, panic spread. Delegates stood from their seats, watching their screens in horror. "They are dismantling an entire fleet," one whispered. "And they are doing it slowly." The ancient observer closed his eyes. This was the moment he feared. "Humans never strike first," he said. "But when they do strike, they make sure the lesson is remembered." Back in space, the alien fleet was helpless. Drifting. Silent. Human ships finally moved. Gliding between disabled enemy vessels. Close enough to be seen clearly. The alien crews stared in shock. The human ships were scarred. Marked with symbols of past battles. These were not peaceful explorers. They were survivors. A human transmission reached every alien ship. Clear and calm. "This conflict is over," the voice said. "You have lost the ability to fight." The alien commander demanded surrender terms. Threats still filled his voice. "There are no terms," the human replied. "This was not a war." That sentence spread through the council chamber like poison. "If this was not war," a delegate asked, "then what is it?" The ancient observer answered quietly, "A demonstration." On Earth, people finally noticed something. News channels reported unknown fleets disabled far from the planet. No damage. No casualties. Human leaders addressed their people briefly. "There is no danger," they said. "Remain calm." And humanity did. In space, The human commander watched the final report. Enemy fleet neutralized. 0 human losses. He did not smile. There was no pride in his eyes. Only relief. He ordered human ships to withdraw, leaving the alien fleet alive, but powerless. The message sent to the Galactic Council was simple. We seek no conquest. But we will not accept extinction. The council chamber was silent again. The same silence as before. But now it was filled with fear. They had called Earth a failed experiment. They had laughed at human restraint. Now they understood the truth. Humans had not avoided war because they were afraid. They had avoided it because they knew exactly what war would become. The ancient observer stood once more, facing the council. You feared human war too late, he said. Because war is not their weakness. It is their final language. And the galaxy realized. This lesson would never be forgotten. The disabled alien fleet was left drifting in silence. Human ships withdrew slowly, not as victors, but as guardians who had finished their task. Across the galaxy, the message spread fast. Humans had stopped an invasion. Without destruction. Without genocide. This confused many species more than fear ever could. On the Galactic Council world, emergency sessions were called. Leaders who once laughed now spoke in low voices. Their confidence was gone. They replayed the battle again and again. Every moment analyzed. Every mistake exposed. Humans had not overwhelmed the fleet with size or numbers. They had overwhelmed it with preparation. The High Council speaker stood before the chamber once more. But this time, his voice was not calm. We misjudged them, he admitted. We believed emotion made them weak. The ancient observer stepped forward. His long shadow stretched across the floor. You judged them by their scars, he said. Not by what those scars taught them. He showed the council a new report. Human history after wars. Not just battles. Rebuilding cities. Uniting nations. Turning loss into progress. Humans survive, the observer continued. Because they learn. A final transmission arrived from Earth. Short. Clear. We do not seek your fear, the message said. We seek understanding. But remember this. Do not mistake mercy for weakness. The words echoed through the chamber. No one laughed this time. Earth's status was reviewed. The red mark of failed experiment was removed. A new label replaced it. Final design. Some council members objected. Others remained silent. The observer raised his hand. This species is not perfect, he said. But it is complete. In human space, fleets returned to patrol. Soldiers stood down. Life returned to normal. Children played under calm skies. Cities remained untouched. Humans did not celebrate the conflict. They recorded it, studied it, and moved on. That was what frightened the galaxy the most. Years passed. New species entered the stars. And every one of them heard the same warning. If you meet humans, they were told, do not test their patience. Because the galaxy had learned a hard truth. Humans do not rush to war. They do not crave it. But when survival is threatened, when extinction stands at the door, humans respond with clarity, with unity, with absolute resolve. The ancient observer watched Earth one final time. The blue planet shining quietly among the stars. Not a failed experiment, he whispered, but the answer. And far beyond the council chambers, among the silent stars, a new balance formed. One where humanity did not rule through fear, but through respect earned the hardest way. The galaxy feared human war too late. Because by the time humans fight, the outcome is already decided. And that was the final lesson. In a universe full of ancient powers, the most dangerous force was not rage, not strength. It was a species that learned when to hold back, and when to never lose again.